Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Wanted to talk about this subject because there's a YouTuber named hbomberguy. Now, a lot of you have probably heard of him. If you haven't, he's just a YouTuber that back in the day, there were people that classified him as a bread tuber. And for a long time, I didn't even know what that meant until I looked it up. And essentially, it's just these YouTubers that were making progressive content. And they just all had to be, they were just all like, just as white as bread. And I think maybe that was true at the time, but there's obviously that whole genre has expanded, and there's prominent creators that are not like, not like white bread. There's some people they even call cornbread. Like there's a dude named FD Signifier who is in the same genre, but he's black. So it is what it is, but he's just one of those dudes that made stuff. I've come across him a few times before, and you could say he's controversial, but he's very good at what he does, and he gets numbers. People listen to him, and he just dropped a video about plagiarism on YouTube and just scorched a handful of YouTubers that have been caught plagiarizing their content, you know, particularly when it comes to video essays. And this got me interested because when we talk about plagiarism, people want to take, like, say, it seriously when it comes to like video essays and stuff like that, and people jump all over it. But when it comes to other forms of art, people don't really care as much. Like, even when it comes to like illustration, it's kind of, but then also it takes somewhat of a back seat. And when it comes to music, it's just really not there. The support isn't there at all. Even when it comes to the musicians themselves, a lot of people just kind of don't care. And there's so many people that actually just steal stuff. They plagiarize. Not even like just similar, where it's like, oh no, you took something that 100% existed and then you just changed it slightly. And then usually people are they're good with it. And I thought, like, man, this sucks. I wish that there was somebody that big that would talk about this stuff. I mean, you've seen videos, like there's a guy named Rick Beato, which I love his channel. Great producer. He's taught me a lot of stuff. And he'll go over some of this stuff. Like, he'll go over, oh, there was that one band that got their song stolen by Dua Lipa. Not specifically by Dua Lipa, because obviously she didn't write her music. These people wrote it, they stole it, and then she sang it, and then these people are like, what the heck? And obviously when it comes to something that big, well, what's going to be done about it? Like, there are lawsuits have to be made, and then obviously the record labels that have infinity billion dollars are going to win regardless, because the other people aren't going to have that type of money to fight that in court. That's typically how it goes. But just on a level of, like, say, maybe steps lower than that. It's so rare when anything happens where people are challenged. Like, say, I understand how in YouTube these people all exist on here. They're not celebrities, so it's easier to hold them accountable, but it's like people in the music industry don't really even try. I mean, this is stuff that I've kind of been a part of for quite some time. Even, like, say, this old band that I used to be a part of, We Are The End, back in, this had to be 2007, I'm assuming, where we saw this band, and I'm just going to keep it, I don't need to name drop anything right now, like, say, but I saw a band that clearly stole a song from a really famous band. Now, I can mention this famous band, the Black Dahlia Murder, because I mean, calling the Black Dahlia Murder out, they had their stuff stolen. And I remember after this band's set was done, I went up to them and I said, like, facetiously in a way, like, hey, have you heard of the Black Dahlia Murder? And then he replied back to the lead guitarist, nope, never heard of them. Knowing damn well why I asked, and so he gave me the same type of facetious response, right? Being like, yeah, I know exactly why you're asking me, and, you know, piss off. And I then brought it to the band later, and we called them out on MySpace. And then, of course, it went nowhere. There were talks about, oh, you're jealous, this, and that. And you'll see this a lot of times, even when it comes to, like, the YouTube plagiarism side. You see, like, oh, you're jealous, you're this. You see Fanboys will protect some of these creators because they like them, they don't want to believe it, even when there's 100% irrefutable evidence. Hell, this happened just a few years ago. Same stuff, same situation, except for my friend had his material stolen. Straight up, like, deliberately stolen. And then dude took it to his band, his very successful band, signed to a big record label, and then me just being like, I don't think that's right. I made a video about it, and then it blew up, and then it got into legal places where I didn't really prefer it to go to. I wasn't involved, I just made a video, just saying. And it was one of those things that when I was seeing the response at first, people were so insanely dismissive, even though I brought forth the evidence and how, like, these people even knew each other and how this was even possible. I laid it out perfectly, and then you still saw people just like, nope, don't want to hear it. Even people in the industry that I respected just wanted to stay out of it because they're like, I don't want to upset the powers that be. I don't want to do that. And I'm just like, what is this, man? Like, especially in the metal community where I resided, I was like, these people are all soft. Like, these people like to act like they're all hard and this and that. This reminds me when I went on tour one time, and I got into a fight in, like, backwoods Florida. I think it might have been Winter Park or something. I don't 100% remember. But I got jumped by, like, 3 guys because I was trying to break up a fight of a girl getting jumped by 3 girls. I broke up the fight, and I think maybe they were mad that I messed up their entertainment or something. They started fighting me. And all of these tough guys that are on tour that are talking about this, and that, and puffing their chests out. And then when a real fight and a brawl breaks out, they're just watching on the sidelines like, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, what is this? What the hell is this? I was so surprised that I'm like, wow, nobody wanted to do anything? Y'all talk a big game. And that's just how I felt. Like, say, when it comes to this, people will be like, oh, if I was there, I would do this, and that. And that's how it felt. It felt like, man, no one really wants to do anything. Nobody really wants to, I guess, risk being a pariah or just anything. Like, it like, say, integrity didn't matter. And that's just kind of how I feel in the music industry, where there's so many interviews of prominent musicians saying, like, yeah, everybody steals. Like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine. And don't get me wrong. I think there's a big difference between being inspired. Like, being inspired and straight up, like, you stole this so you can get ahead. You were too lazy to come up with something on your own, and then you just stole this to get ahead. I mean, when I talk about inspiration, I actually just stumbled upon something the other day that I thought was funny and kind of cool. Where there's this band, I can't remember their name, just one word name. There's this chick, with black hair that's on the thumbnail, and I think the song's called like something like We Shall Remain. And the chorus, I was like, the chorus sounds so familiar. And then it hit me, I'm like, that's the Incredible Hulk Sad Piano song. And I laughed. And I left a comment saying that exact same thing. I was like, hey, great song. God, it just hit me that it was that. And like, I don't care. It was the same melody. Like, the way that the piano goes when it goes an octave higher, it was like the same thing. And I was like, oh, they didn't come up with that in a vacuum. that actually was clearly borrowed. But it's not the same thing. The lyrics original, the song's original. I'm just like, that's totally fine. I just thought that was kind of cool, kind of neat. Maybe even a small little homage. I don't know. I don't know the thinking and the thought behind it. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's when you, like, say, imagine if their metal song was the entire melody, the entire way, then I'd be like, what are you doing? And I have seen stuff like this. And then people are usually like, oh, whatever, it's better anyway. This is better, like, who cares? Like, I like these people, who cares if they stole this shit? And I'm like, I mean, I do. Hell, I even had a song stolen from me, but this is a video that I've thought about making for years, but it's just like, do I want to put the time and effort into it? Because the idea was to showcase the song that was stolen from me and then record the song the way that it was meant to be done. Now, the thing is why I never, like, say if it really bothered me, I would have made a video a long time ago. But the thing is why it didn't bother me is because, number one, the band never got that big. Sure, they toured a little bit, but I think it was like locally in California. And then they butchered the song, which I was kind of like, well, I guess technically that bothered me more. That maybe I would have been even more okay with it if they would have just aced it. But I was just like, ew. But it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just like, whatever. Didn't really go anywhere. And so I thought it would be more of a fun video to tell a story and then to just showcase how the song would really be. But I wasn't that insanely bothered. Now, obviously, if, say, this band would have blown up off of that song, because it was their flagship single. Now, if it would have blown up and then they would have got signed to a major label or something, then maybe I would take offense to it. Then maybe I would be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Like, no. You don't just get to take my stuff and then just be like, yeah, this is our shit. Like, it happens so damn often. And then it's just like, people are just like, whatever. And so that's something that, like, I feel like, man, I wish... Now, to be fair, I don't think hbomberguy knows anything about the music industry. I don't think that's his expertise. I think since he does video essays for a living, this is something that was much more close and much more interested to him, because he's like, yeah, I can completely relate to these people. I think this is something that would have to take so much research for him. So if he wanted to dive into the music industry and kind of, and just cover it for the so many decades of prominent music that is being clearly stolen. And don't get me wrong, there are some pretty cool videos out there showcasing this type of stuff, but again, 9 times out of 10, the people who stole, nothing ever happens to them. And so you can say similar things to the people that were stealing video essays and articles and documentaries and whatnot, things that was covered in the hbomberguy video. But you do have somebody as prominent as hbomberguy that can actually do something about it and actually changing the landscape a little bit. Some of the people that he accused have scrubbed their content. They have changed. They're like, oh, I got to get out of here. The jig is up. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. But it seems like a lot of times, I guess I'm not optimistic about that in the music industry. I don't think that's going to happen. Honestly, I don't think people care enough. Now, do I think it's a major problem? Well, I think that's subjective, right? Like, I think to the people that have been stolen from and that didn't get to rise to prominence, and then something that they wrote and worked hard on or something was just lifted, and then now you just got to see somebody else. Well, I would say they would think it's a major problem, right? And so I'm just keeping those people in mind. I'm keeping, say, hey, let's just, be a little bit better, man. We don't have to do this whole thing. We don't have to do this. I've actually written in some of my notes, I've had ideas of actually exposing some stuff like this, but then I thought about it to myself, do I want to become that guy? Do I want to become the creator that is just going to expose people? And I was like, I don't really want, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to be a drama-centric content creator, like, say, when I was doing political content, it was about trying to, dive into the drama, try to be funny, cover controversial stuff. And I'm like, I just want to cover music in all-encompassing ways. Like, say, maybe get the occasional interview, possibly if something actually makes sense, release music, review stuff, just all-encompassing and just not really... just in a hobbyist kind of way. But that's pretty much it, though. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say on this subject. So then I just want to pass it off to you guys. How do you feel about this? Do you agree with my assessment at all? Do you think that this is something that maybe should be tackled? That maybe there should be more prominent, say, there's a lot of people, especially when it comes to metal and rock, there are some big YouTubers out there that I feel like that they wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, because normally it seems like everybody's trying to just be kind of cool with each other, and there isn't that many villains when it comes to this style of content. Like, I like that, and then I also don't like that, because there's some people who you'd be kind of considered like the watchers, right? They're the watchers. They're trying to keep things honest, and it's not necessarily there. It's like, a lot of people have different opinions on, just for example, what's been going on with Slipknot. And I've seen a lot of opinions that are just safe. And I think they're safe in the hopes that, well, there's a big possibility that I could meet these people one day. And I say, bro, you can still express your opinion and meet your heroes, right? If they have a fucking problem with you, as long as you're not absolutely just trashing them, but if you're just stating your opinion and it happens to be negative, why should that even be? Why is that? It drives me nuts. It really does. And I feel like that's kind of the reason why people kind of just get away with stuff like this where it's like, I don't want to be, maybe someday I can work with this person, or I'd love to meet them. It's a possibility. I'm a bigger YouTuber, and then they might watch my content. We might meet in my, and I'm just like, I guess. I feel like maybe they would respect you more if you were just honest. Like, you want to talk about a certain situation, but this is what I think, man. I think there might be some bad things happening on all the, and then just be like, all right, I respect that, I respect that. But if you want to get the real truth, come and talk to me or something. Some shit like that would be cool, but I digress. That's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. Please leave a like on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one.